Today we put on our third coat around our windows and we covered up any tape showing. We just basically buttoned up all of the mud we had. We made sure that there was minimal imperfections. So when we come back on Tuesday, texturing will be pretty quick and it'll go pretty smooth because we won't have to cover up or mask any divots or screw holes. One mistake we made is we didn't cut out our hole for our clean out, but it wasn't too hard to find out where that goes, and I learned that probably should have cut it out. Just probably work in different rooms, go at your own pace. Um, Me and Jasper, we split up the work with like someone was covering tool marks and screw holes, and someone else was going over and covering all the tape that was still visible in the corners, and that seemed to work pretty well. And one thing to take note of is sometimes your corner bead, it'll kind of stick out and protrude out a little bit more from your vertical piece or your horizontal piece. So you're really just going to have to come wide with your mud and float that out so it won't be a visible bulge after you paint. Today, just same stuff. We're going to need our flashlight to check any imperfections in our mud. We're going to need our mudding pan and knives, and we're also going to need our pole sander and our hand sander to sand away all those bumps and ridges. Right now, we're just filling in all our little tool marks and doing some extra sanding just to make our texture go a little bit easier. Because if there is any screw hole or any tool mark that you missed when you start texturing, you're just going to have to texture over it. It's not a big deal, but if you forget to texture over it, it'll really start popping when you put your primer and paint on. And that's something we don't want, because you don't want something that little to make your whole house look bad when it was preventable and didn't take that much time. This is an example of something that we would have to sand down, because that's almost impossible to hide with texture. We just put a little bit extra here to fill in all of our gaps and tool marks. So once this dries, we'll take our knife and just scrape that off. Stuff like this, we're all gonna have to get rid of things like this. Maybe sand down stuff like this just to make texture go easy. And this is in the shower, so it does need to be smooth, because any interruptions will make tiling a little bit more hard. So when you're checking your joints, what you want is you want it to be seamless from drywall sheet to drywall sheet. That's our whole purpose of mudding. And you know that you're pretty good when you can take your knife and put it on your joint and you don't really see that there's not that much wiggle or light coming through. So this one right here is pretty good because we have even mudding all around it.
This is what you want?
Yeah, this is what you want, pretty close to this. So we're just running our knife, checking all of our walls. So it looks like this one's really good all the way across. So that's how we know that we're going to be seamless from drywall to drywall. And when we go and paint, we won't be able to tell where we stopped and started hanging different sheets. So if you guys remember, we had a vent through a roof right in this bay. And at the very bottom was our clean out in case we need to snake our toilet. And me and Jasper forgot about our clean out and we accidentally just buried it. So I came back and I had to find where it was and cut a hole. For this, we're using a 3-inch hole saw, just cutting around the diameter of this ring. And we're only using 3 inches because we're going to go and cover it up with a 6-inch faceplate. But this faceplate we're going to save till the very end, and it'll be part of our trim and finish work.
So we're just kind of going back and looking over where they did their screw holes, where they mudded back over. So this one, you can still count your screw holes right here. So we'll have them go over it one more time. You just want to make sure you get some nice mud in there. They might be running a little too thin and kind of scraping it back out, because the mud will shrink down as it dries. So you want to kind of leave a good layer, not too thick, but obviously get those screw holes filled in. So they did the mud around the window. They floated it back out. One thing that we did notice that the sides were a little bit uneven, so we floated it out. Well, they did, and it looks pretty good. It looks a lot better now. So now you don't have this recessed lip right underneath your windowsill, and it's floated, fairly flat again. So we're almost there. Job's looking pretty good. Corners are looking a lot better. So probably Tuesday we're going to start doing some drywall texture. We're just about there.